and I'll click broadcast and you'll see people coming. So, yep, here we go. Okay, so this session is now broadcasting to people, and they'll be coming into the session now. So welcome to you who are just joining out there. We've been here preparing this morning for the session. And yeah, my name's Ed. In case you don't know, a lot of you would have come to some previous sessions. So thank you very much for attending those and coming back to this one today. And if you're new here, welcome. I just have to mute that because I'm hearing myself twice. Yep, that's better. So I'm in Melbourne, Clifton Hill. It's on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and I acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I always encourage people to think about where it is that they are and your connection to the environment and the land that you're on. So this morning, I've got Emily and Jessy standing by. They both are from HR Gurus, and Emily has had an involvement before in First Conference, not that long ago, really, quite recently, but it seems quite long ago in some ways. And when I was thinking of people to get along to run a session, I instantly thought of her because she is a really great presenter, and she did something at Spark the Change meetup as well. Some of you may have known her from there about the millennials, and she's along with her colleague Jessy, and they're both in Melbourne. So that's my introduction, and I'm going to hand it to Jessy and Emily.
Thanks so much, Ed. Thank you very much and welcome. As Ed just introduces, my name's Emily Jaksch and I'm the CEO and founder of HR Gurus, and I've got with me today my awesome colleague Jessy, who's our managing partner, and we're going to be talking to you about the hot topic of returning to work post COVID-19. Everybody's in a little bit of a bubble at the moment, and there's been some recent announcements made just this weekend. If you live in Victoria, which I'm sure many of you do, maybe some people are from different states. We've got about 14 people in the session, so welcome to everyone. Just in terms of some housekeeping, we're going to give you the opportunity to ask some questions at the very end. And we'll unmute you to do that. There's also a Q&A if you've used Zoom webinar before. If you want to post your questions in the Q&A, we will endeavour to answer them at the end. Jessy's a bit of a IR, industrial relations guru, so we're going to be sharing with you today some of her amazing insights in terms of some of the complexities and questions that we've been getting around this stuff. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, we're going to be talking about flexible work arrangements and requests, because the landscape has now changed in regards to flexible work arrangements. We're going to be talking about the communication and planning aspect of returning to work. Many of you, if you are an employer or manager, have probably started thinking about this, but we're going to give you some really good tips and also some tools that you can take away to start planning on your return to work if you haven't done so already. We're going to be talking about how you can prepare your office environment for returning to work post-COVID. A lot of health and safety implications that we now need to consider that we weren't even on the radar before. We're going to talk about how to comply with social distancing. We're going to talk about the very hot topic of JobKeeper, because this is a new thing that no one's ever had to deal with. So we're going to cover off on some of the tricky questions that you may be considering around the JobKeeper scheme. And then the $1 million question, what the hell do you do if you actually have a COVID-19 case in your workplace? What are your obligations? And what are you going to be required to do? So we've got a lot to cover off on. We've got about probably 45 minutes worth of content, which allows us to answer some questions at the end. So without further ado, I guess I've touched on it already. The current situation is that the restrictions are all lifting and workplaces are now reopening, whether you're an office environment or you're one of the businesses that was actually shut down, like you might be a hospitality business, a pub or a club. Things are slowly starting to reopen, and it's presenting a myriad of challenges for businesses as they look at, well, what is the new business as usual for us? So we're going to talk about and cover off all of the things that you need to consider to make sure that when you do return to work, you minimise the disruption. And I'm going to hand over to Jessy to talk a little bit about some of the trends that we're seeing around office environments in particular.
Yeah, so as you can see up on the screen, we've got currently 61% of all office workers are working remotely. And we've also looked at some other surveys and data which actually say that most people are happy doing this remote work now. So, you know, what was normal at the start of the year is no longer the case. So a lot of businesses used to kind of restrict the amount of remote working that their workers could do and try to get people into the office, and had some tight guidelines around that. But we've been able to, you know, to use one of those cliche words, we have been able to pivot, and, you know, people are liking it. One of the surveys that I've read is 70% of that 61 are happy working from home. 19% want to work from home more often, and only 11% want to work from home less often. So, you know, that's quite staggering statistics. I guess not really surprising, but there's been a lot of people have embraced this new way of working, and we've seen a whole lot of benefits from it.
We have. I know just in our office, we actually kind of had to sit down and go, well, do we actually need an office? And I'm one of those people who likes coming into the office. So I've actually really struggled working at home over those 10 weeks. I actually hated it. But Jessy, for instance, has remained working at home and actually loves working from home. So I think it's different strokes for different folks. And one of the considerations is that you need to ask your employees, what do they want and what do they want to take forward? And I'm just trying to change the slide, and I'm sorry, there we go. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is requests for flexible work arrangements and the opportunities versus the risks, because a lot of people don't know that employees with children that are at school age, correct me if I'm wrong, Jessy, have a right to put in a request to work flexibly. So can you just explain what that means?
Yeah, so that's one of the provisions in the Fair Work Act, is that employees have a right to request flexible work arrangements. And so they put their request in writing, and as an employer, you have 21 days to respond in writing. And the only reason that you're able to refuse is on reasonable business grounds. So I think what it means, because of the last 10 weeks where so many people have been working from home, it's going to be a lot harder to put that business case forward to say, we can't accommodate your flexible work request, because what we're seeing is a lot more people, say if you've got kids, they're able to do the school pickup and then start working again once their kids are in bed. So businesses have been able to accommodate the flexible work. So it's going to become a lot more difficult to say there's no way that we can accommodate you working flexible hours, you know, starting at 9 p.m, finishing at 3 and then starting again. You know, in some cases you can, but you really need a good reason. So it's something to be really mindful of.